Hi, this is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle. We're going to work on a Penn reel today. This is the Penn 545 graphite reel, the GS series. It's a reel that was made in the 1990s and discontinued right before Penn transferred its manufacturing to China. So this is one of the last of the made in the USA reels. And if you're ever wondering about Penn, if it doesn't say made in the USA on it, it wasn't. But they did a general transfer of the manufacturing in 2005. So this one was around from the late 80s or early 90s to 2004 or 5, right before it went. And then once the manufacturing was transferred, these reels were discontinued and they were replaced by others. This is a nice reel. It's a conventional reel. It's sort of a kind of a Jigmaster on steroids kind of a reel. It has more ball bearings, or more traditional ball bearings, than the Jigmaster, and it also is a graphite frame. It's a little bit lighter, and it has a bigger gear, so it's more high speed. So it's got a lot of advantages to it. It happens to be one of my favorite reels in the Penn lineup, but the reel overall is a nice reel. This one's working, but what we want to do here is in line with the series that I've been doing on seeing how hybrid ceramic bearings improve the performance of a reel. And we've got the best. We've got the ABEX 7 orange seals hybrid bearings from Boca bearing. And those of you that have been watching know that I've featured the Boca bearings on several of these videos now. And I just can't say enough about the support that I get from their team, and also about the performance of the bearings. So we're going to do this one. We'll show you how to take this reel apart, how to service it, and how to change over to those. Speaking of Boca bearings, they sent me a couple of giveaway packages for the folks that are watching. It's got all kinds of fun stuff in there. It's got a nice cap. There's I believe there's a tin here which contains some candies in it just in case you get hungry. There's a mouse pad in here that's got all kinds of measurements for the bearings and their equivalents. Sort of what you see on this map behind us here, the transitions from inches to millimeters and fractions to inches and so on. And well, this is going to be given away to those of you that know the secret code to enter into the comments section to get yourself entered for a drawing on that package. How do you do that? Well, just stay tuned, watch the video, and somewhere in there I will let you know what you need to enter. So let's get going. We're going to start by taking off the exterior pieces and parts. That kind of starts with the cap that's holding the handle nut on. And while I do that, I want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel. Thank you to all the folks that have. We're almost at 35,000 now. Hopefully we'll get there, well, in a couple of days. We'll have to see. But regardless, I want to thank everybody who stayed with me every time. I can't tell you how many times I get these notes that, well, I read all of the notes. Tell me, you know, they've been watching me for years now, and we're probably on our 7th year. I got started on this when I was encouraged by my daughter to show everybody what it is that I do so that I could leave a legacy one day, and in the meantime help all the folks that were out there taking reels apart or had a reel that they enjoyed and found that something was wrong with them and didn't quite know how to go about servicing it. And well, these videos have been particularly helpful, and I've enjoyed doing them for all of the folks. We just removed the handle, the star adjuster. Now we're going to remove the side plate. Now this is a reel that I think might have been the first one that Penn used, where the gearing is actually on the frame. It's not part of the side plate. If you look at the setup here, there are no bridge screws. I think this may have been the first, but I could be wrong. There's 2 small screws on this reel. They go high and low, kind of 6 o'clock and 12 o'clock. The other 2 go through cross posts, so they're a little bit longer. And when you do this type of a service, you want to make sure that you note that if there are differences in the screws, where those screws go. I just did a Penn 230, kind of an oddball. It was the Penn, the level wind reel that followed the 300s. It was actually the first one of the first of the level winds made in China, and they had different screws on the side plate here, and if you weren't paying attention, you'd go, gee whiz, where did that all come from or go to? 4 stainless steel screws, and there are 2 small screws holding in the bottom here. And this bottom is an extension because, well, it houses that big gear. And to make this thing work efficiently, you have to drop that main gear below the base of the reel. These 2 are black and obviously are different. So, again, note where they go. And one of the best ways to help back yourself up is to take pictures as you're working on the reel at critical junctions so that you know what the orientation is of those pieces before you start removing them and wondering where they go upon reinstallation. Also have a plan for what you're going to do with the parts that you take off. My plan is to put them into a parts tray, and that way I know where they are. That parts tray has 8 corners in it, and I generally will put the different pieces of different assemblies in different areas of the parts tray to help me along. The screws, all 6 of them have been removed. We should be able to remove the side plate now. Always kind of fun to say, but they have a little tag set up in here, so you just have to be careful when you remove. Okay, the side plate has come off. In this side plate is one of the bearings that we will be replacing. I'm just going to leave that off on the side now. Take a picture before you start doing anything here, because you want to make sure that you notice things like the spacer, the position of the jack, how the springs are set up on your yoke, and so on. It's a very substantial reel. The main gears are significant. These are set up for very large fish, and if you're out there and about and want a reel that's going to stand the test of all of this, that's what you want to work on right there. Let's take off the main gear. The main gear has a series of HT100 drag washers in it. We'll get around to that in a little bit. We're going to remove the yoke and pinion gear, the jack, and then we have a little click ratchet down here, and we can go ahead and do the cleaning on this side. I'm going to use a penetrating oil here to do the cleaning. On this reel, the dog is held in by a screw and a spring is attached. You don't need to remove that unless you have a worn dog that you need to replace. But a lot of times folks think that when you're doing routine, let's get that out, easy for me to say, routine maintenance on a reel, you got to take every piece and part off. Well, you don't. And I guess the classic example of that would be the folks that remove the bail and the bail springs on spinning reels when, well, the reel is working just fine. Now, of course, you drop the reel in the sand, you get, swamped by water, something like that, then of course you're going to want to take that off because there's dirt and junk hanging out behind that bail. And you'll know it when you go to flip the bail. It's got a noise and a grind to it. Well, sure, then you want to remove it. But if it's something that you haven't done that, then you don't need to take that off. All right, we've cleaned off the click ratchet. You need to make sure that the click ratchet's orientation is correct. Notice the valleys, they're going to fit in with that anti-reverse. And that's the way it should mesh. So if you put it on the other way, you'll never have an anti-reverse. This reel does not have the instant anti-reverse clutch. It only has that anti-reverse dog that was common at the time. With that taken apart, we're going to clean up the yoke and the jack. We're going to start by removing the old greases from those pieces. We can put some new grease right on, and I have a artist brush here. The grease that I'm using is Penn Precision Reel Grease, and I've said it many times, it's not necessarily because this is a Penn reel, it's because the reel grease is what's designed and is best for fishing reels. You don't use fishing reel oil in motors. There's no sense to use motor or engine oil in fishing reels. People will tell me that they do it, and you know, it's your reel, do what you like, but I don't recommend it. I also don't like the smell of it. People will tell me that they use kerosene or diesel oil to clean up the fishing reel parts. That's fine, I get it. I understand that it works. Just don't like it. All right, let's continue. We've cleaned up the yoke. We're going to put a little bit of grease on here. Both sides of the shoulder. The pinion gear has a slotted and ring side of it. That's going to face in for that spool to connect to. Put a fresh set of grease onto your pinion gear. I'm going to set this in place. Again, if you had any questions about how it was set in place, go back to your pictures that you took. I'm taking pictures, I'm taking a video. You don't need to take the video, but what you do or should do is utilize whatever image capture device, how do you like that, you have to get the pictures taken, whether it's a phone, a traditional digital camera, use film if you like, or anything else in between there. Then go ahead and take those pictures. Don't be afraid to stop your work. Take the pictures and clean it up. Now, as I mentioned, this is a substantial gear, and I do believe it's, I think it's manganese, but I could be wrong, or manganese brass alloy or something along that line. And we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to use this brush to pull through the valleys on the teeth to make sure this is all clean. And I do brush it off onto a paper towel so that it does not get on my bench. And once I can find that grease brush again, there it is. We'll go ahead and put the grease back on to the teeth that we just cleaned up. And I'm using Penn Precision Reel Grease. I'll show you the container in a moment to grease this reel. Again, not because it's necessarily a Penn reel, but because it's fishing reel grease. And I get folks that ask all the time, can I use gun oil? Can I use sewing machine oil? Can I use, yeah, you can use whatever you like. It's your reel. I recommend staying with the fishing reel products. They're inexpensive enough that it's not a matter of cost avoidance. And you can get them online, so it's not even an inconvenience to search for them. We're taking our 2 yoke springs and putting those on at this moment. And now we have a series of HT100 drag washers. We have a traditional 6-washer set. You have the option to apply grease to these. I'm going to do that just to show you. I take a little bit of grease, kind of dab the washer in it, use my gloved hand to spread it. You get pretty good at this after a while. And usually that'll act as a squeegee as well, take off the excess. You need to see the cross hatching on the washer that you've greased. If there's globs on there, it's just going to press out when you go to tighten the drag washer down. And the grease has nothing to do with the slip factor or the like on the washer itself. There's 2 washers that have a rectangular center. They go high and low. They're called keyed washers. I'll do this a second time on that middle washer. The middle washer gets the eared washer. That's the one with the circular center and the 2 points that kind of look like ears. Last time on the greasing up of the drag washers, I just did the 230 GTO. I think I was just saying that. And that's got a 10 washer set in it, so it's got even more drag associated with it. Here's your top keyed washer. And you have a bell washer. Put the peak on the inside, a spacer. And then, well, I believe that first of the bearings has already fallen out, so we haven't even had to struggle with the bearing setup here to get that one removed. Let's go ahead and put this back in. I just need to align that little side plate piece. bring this over. Notice there's a little bit of grease I can get in there, so we will do that right now. We can bring this over, set that on, line it up, and make sure it snaps on. Right now what we're not doing is we're not lining up this click here, so move that down a little bit. That hole there and the stud on the eccentric need to match in. So I like to keep it in the high position. That's usually the closest way you can get that on. So let's try this again. There we go. You'll hear it just like we did. All right. We have the 2 small screws and the 2 larger screws and the 2 black screws. Let's put those in. Remember what I said, the smaller ones go at kind of 6 and 12. Let's go ahead and put those in. So we chose the Boca bearings because they are ABEC 7. ABEC, the higher the number you get on a scale of 1 to 9, the higher the number you get, the better or closer tolerances they have. Chances are you will not find an ABEC 9 for fishing reels. 7 is about the height. Yes, they cost more, but they're more efficient. You run these bearings dry. You don't put oil in there, but if you don't like the noise that a ceramic bearing makes, you can oil them. Those seals are not watertight. You can put a drop of oil or 2. I think Boca makes an oil called Lightning. You can put that in there, and that will quiet the bearing, but it'll also sacrifice the speed of the bearing because it will create more friction. Well, here's the first of the replacement bearings. It goes in, it just seats right into the cavity here. And we can bring our tension washer over. Actually, that goes between the handle. Let's put the star adjuster on. So that bearing is going to help the main gear handle turn easier. It won't do anything for the spool. We have 2 bearings that we're going to put on for the spool. Now I'll put this one back on. Bring our handle on. Handle nut. Tighten that down. And we're going to need to align this so that we can put that retention cap on. And the alignment, most of the time, if you get a point on that nut pointing right at that hole, generally it will align it so that your screw just goes right in. Just like that. Okay, we're done with the gear side. Let's go over and do the other 2 bearings and complete the service of this reel. Well, if you have any questions on this reel or any reel, if you leave them in the comment section, I will try to answer those questions for you. It could be on this reel, maybe you want to know a little bit more about it, although we've kind of gone into the history there. Again, 2 of these screws are going to be long, 2 of them are going to be short. I just noticed that as I was taking them out. Didn't want to not tell you about that. Again, those are going into cross posts too. But a lot of times folks will ask me, you know, what kind of reels do you like? What are the uses of them? We're in the mid-Atlantic in New Jersey. We have a variety of fishing, everything here. And well, some reels are better than other reels for certain applications. Maybe you have a question about that. So if you want to leave those questions in the comment section, I will try to answer those for you. On this one, it's kind of fun. So we got 2 things going on here. We have the inner case bearing, which we got to remove. We have the brakes on this side of the reel. Those are centrifugal braking. When you spin it, it will spin out. And here's the race for those. And what we want to do now is we want to pull those bearings from the case. I just use generally a pick. That one just popped right out. I don't want to bust your bubble, but those don't always pop out. This one did, so there you go. Made my life easy. I'm going to take the replacement bearing for that. And these are the bearings that are really going to make this spool spin like crazy. And if you're in the distance casting, if you're using this one in the surf, these will make a tremendous amount of difference in the reel. Just snaps right back in. And now we want to grab the other one. So let's see if we have as much luck with this one. We did. All right, so this reel is putting me to shame because, as I mentioned, sometimes they're not as easy to get out as those. All right, let's take the last one, put that in. Now, normally what we would also do is we would service a line guide, but there is no line guide in this. And if you're into surf casting, I recommend that you don't pick a reel that has line guide. If you pick that line guide reel, there's a lot of moving parts in there that slow the speed of the spool and slow the distance that you can cast. All right, snapped right in place. We run them dry. Let's take that spool. You can put a little bit of grease onto the shaft of the spool. That's going to go through that pinion gear that we serviced, and well, it'll make it spin a little bit freer in there. Bring your spool back in. Find your lettering. That's going to go square to the bottom. Bring that over. Nice snap again. I think this goes on in any position. Sometimes they're offset. Just make sure that you have that correct. Two long ones go in the sides for the sidebar. Let's put those on. And while we're doing this, remember what I said. I'm going to give you a secret code here. If you want to win that hat, the candy tin, and the mouse pad with all those bearing measures on there, put May 45 in there. How about that? May 45. Almost sounds like a year and a month that somebody was born. Why am I picking that? Well, this is the 545. So let's make 5 the month, and we'll make 45 the year. How's that? May 45. Enter May 45 into the comments section. You will automatically be entered into the drawing for the swag package, courtesy of Boca Bearings. All right, one more of these, and I just noticed as I was looking into my parts tray that I've omitted 2 screws. Do you remember where they are? That's the danger of using my black parts bin because, well, there's 2 black screws hiding in there. I'm sure everybody was getting ready to put in the comment section, hey, you forgot. Well, that's okay too. But that parts tray helps you to remember the pieces and parts that you may have omitted. So let's tighten these down. Then we'll be ready for a test. Well, what did we do? We took the reel apart completely. Every piece on this reel came out other than the shaft. As we mentioned, the shaft and the anti-reverse dog, but you get the idea. If this is one of the ones that you service, just follow along with this video. It will help you. And, well, if you want to upgrade those bearings, check the Boca Bearing website. You'll be able to get the package for these. Let's see how we did. We're in gear. Turns nice and free and easy, right? Let's tighten down on the drag washers. Make sure they're holding. They are. And then back them off. You don't want to press them down. That'll only lead to more wear. Let's put it in the free spool. This is what this is all about now. How free does that spool spin? Enough said, right? You have an adjuster on here. This one's tightened all the way down. I can't even move that with my hand. You want to adjust your spool to the weight of the lure. That's what's going to help you to determine and avoid backlashes or bird's nests. I just backed that off a little bit, and now you can see the true value of that bearing. It'll just spin and spin and spin, and the more I back that tension off, the more and more it's going to spin. Beautiful installation. Well, we've done these bearing conversions now on spinning reels, and we've done them on bait casting reels, and we've done them on ocean going conventional reels. I think it's real easy to notice that the bearings really make a difference casting wise in the open faced bait casters or in this case, ocean going conventional reel. That's because you've eliminated the friction associated with that spool spin. On the spinning reels, we've noticed that they make the difference in the crank. And you need a lot less effort to crank your reels because, well, you don't have the friction associated with those ball bearings. Oh, I hope you've enjoyed this. Before I leave, I want to take a moment to thank our first responders, our police, fire, safety, and rescue, everybody involved in keeping us out of harm's way. I want to thank you for watching. I want to thank Boca Bearings for providing the swag package. Remember that secret code, enter it into the comment section, and you will be entered into the drawing for that. You even get a couple of nice stickers to put out there in your shop. Well, we're done for another day. I want to thank you for watching, and of course, wish everybody a great day and fun fishing on the water. This is Dennis with Second Chance Tackle.